Today I'm going to talk about ESP. I'm not here to be skeptic about it or anything. There are three main kinds: telepathy, telekinesis, and precognition. I've experienced about two of those. I haven't experienced telekinesis, not that I know of. The word tele means something distant. It's a Greek. Okay, so when it comes to telepathy, I first had the experience when I was in China. I was traveling, and for me, it starts off as the thoughts are projected out to, like, at the top of people's heads. That's what I've experienced. Kind of like a fluorescent sort of color. The hard part to telepathy is really trying to clear your mind. Just with anything else, it's all about trying to clear your thoughts. And they said focus on a flame, not a candle flame, but a match. And that is meant to focus all your energy in one place, because humans can only focus at certain things every 3 seconds or 4 seconds. When I first started having my experience with telepathy, it was scaring me first, because I didn't know what was going on. You have to look up a certain way. Eyes have to get fixed in a certain position on the top of your head, and you need to be relaxed about it. And first you see colors and images, just mainly imagery when it comes to that. And then it gets through the stages of just knowing something and feeling something. And it almost feels like you're inside the body of that other person, and you feel and you know the things that they know. They often say telepathy is reading your mind, but I don't think it has anything to do with reading. I sincerely think that it's more of seeing something. It's more of seeing something, feeling, and knowing. Also, another important thing is you need to feel a certain way when you're activating, your third eye. It's love, basically, if you know what I mean by that. It's like turning on the TV and picking which channels you want to choose. But first you got to turn on the TV, so you got to activate something in your mind. In order to do that, you need to feel love. So whatever your underlying intentions are, that's how you need to feel in the first place. Okay, so repeat after me. Your unconsciousness is the consciousness of mankind. The unconsciousness of mankind is the consciousness of all living species. The unconsciousness of all living species is the consciousness of the universe. So to conclude that, we are all connected. When you look at the subatomic level of things, everything that you see around you is connected. The universe is like a huge net that is connected to each other. So what we do here, what we think about, what we act on, actually has effect on the universe as a whole. So telepathy isn't just about the thoughts of that certain person. It's about the feelings too, their intentions. So the more advanced stages, like what I went through, was more of knowing. So I started seeing colors, like there were fluorescent holograms being projected out on top of people's heads. I'm not kidding. And the second one I went through was feeling, and the third one was knowing. I had a friend once, and they were really stressed out about contracting a disease like HIV. I won't go too in depth with that, but I held their hand. We were sitting in a cafe. This was in China, and I just knew that they didn't have it. I don't know how I knew, but I just knew that they didn't have it. It was like the knowledge was already there. All I had to do was look at it. I didn't think, or I didn't try to figure out anything. I just knew. And the next day they called me and said, well, how did you know? Because the test results came up negative. And I said, well, I don't know how I knew, I just knew. So it was pretty funny. When you're practicing telepathy, for starters, emotions are really important. So if a person is thinking of a color, ask that person to associate that color with a feeling. So it might be love, might be anger, might be sadness, might be confusion. Obviously, they're not supposed to tell you how they feel, but just tell them to feel it while they're projecting the thoughts out, because I think it makes it a lot easier. Another one is when your phone rings. I'm sure that most of you will be able to guess who that person is that's calling you or sending you a message. So start doing that. Start guessing. Before you answer the phone, start guessing who it could be. And you just keep practicing it that way until you don't have to guess anymore. You just feel that other person on the end of the line. At the end of the line, you just feel who they are. So the second one is telekinesis. I have had no experience with that, and I got really exhausted about it. That in the end, I just figured, well, it's easier just to move a cigarette, for example, with your hand than try to move it with your mind, because that takes up more energy. The third one is precognition, and this is what I still have now. But when I was in China and other places, when I traveled, it was very strong. But not, in my experience, it wasn't knowing something way ahead of time, like years from now. It had a time frame of maybe half an hour or a couple of hours before it happens. And the thing about precognition is it just happens, just comes up in your mind. So it's happened to me a lot. You daydream all day, and then all of a sudden you get this image of walking down the stairs, walking along the street, and the phone rings. So, in reality, I'd get up out of bed, think of buying some food, I go downstairs, I take a walk, and my phone rings. So, you could be skeptic about this, and that's just not the only thing that happens. And if I was to tell you everything, it would take up the video time, so I'm trying to make this real quick. The problem with precognition is that a lot of people will think, well, isn't it a good idea to take advantage of it, because you could really change those events from happening once you know about them. But the thing is, first, because the images you get is not detailed. It never gives you the full information, so you cannot do anything to change that. Maybe you can in some cases, but most of the time there's nothing you can do. For example, you could get a premonition that a friend is going to walk up to you and say hello, or someone is at the door, but you don't know what they're going to say or talk about. You don't know the detail of the situation. You just see them, see their face, and then that's it. Because it's lacking detail, you really can't do much to change what is going to happen. So I made a promise to myself not to go to that. So I've actually blocked it out of my mind. But if I was to open it up, I would. Sometimes I still get little things. As much as I try to block a lot of those things, I just distract myself and do something else, because the truth is I really don't want to have anything to do with it. It's kind of telling the story before it's over, and that spoils it a lot. So, to me, I would rather live life to the fullest here and now. It's none of my business, basically. I don't think it's any of my business. So that's my experience with ESP. So if any of you have experienced the same sort of things, then feel free to reply and share your experiences and views about it.